You've done it. You held your ground. You stayed silent. You made her feel your absence, and now the moment of truth arrives. Because let's be real, no contact wasn't the victory. It was just the opening move. The real game begins now. One wrong step, and all the effort, the patience, the control you've maintained, it could crumble in an instant. But handled correctly, you won't just regain her attention, you'll make her chase you. You'll become the man she wants to be around, heck, not the one she used to know. The key? Control, patience, power. These are not tricks, they are disciplines. And no philosophy understands discipline better than Stoicism, the art of mastering yourself before mastering any external outcome. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Right now, you have a choice. Will you react emotionally and undo your progress, or will you move with precision like a king on the chessboard? In this guide, I'll show you how to navigate this phase with strategic detachment, how to reignite her attraction, subtly shift the power dynamic, and make her feel your worth without ever chasing. Because the moment you become the man she can't replace, she won't want to. This isn't a game, it's a transformation. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you won't be wondering if she'll come back. You'll be deciding if she deserves to. Now, let's begin. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. Because mastering yourself, that's a lifelong journey, and I'll be right here with you. No contact is just the beginning. A Stoic perspective on attraction and control. You've gone silent, you've held your ground, she's felt your absence. But now, you're standing at a crossroads. This is where most men fail, thinking that contact alone will magically bring her back. That silence is enough, that she'll suddenly wake up and chase you just because you disappeared. But reality doesn't work that way. No contact isn't the final move, it's only the setup for the real game. Think of it like resetting a chessboard. The pieces may be rearranged, but the game is still ongoing. Now what you do next determines whether she starts moving toward you or away from you for good. Many men treat no contact as a tactic, but Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in principles, not tricks. No contact isn't just about making her miss you, it's about reinforcing your self-worth, maintaining your composure, and proving to yourself that you are not a slave to impulse. If you've used this time correctly, you haven't just been waiting, you've been evolving. The power of absence and perception. When you withdrew, she likely went through an emotional cycle. At first, she may have felt empowered, thinking she won, believing you would come crawling back. But then something shifts. The silence stretches on. Doubt creeps in. She starts to wonder, did he move on? Was he really that strong? This is where curiosity and attraction begin to rekindle. But here's where most men ruin everything. They break the silence out of fear, craving validation like a desperate gambler cashing in his last chips. A simple, "Hey, I miss you" at the wrong time erases all the progress you've made. It tells her you never had control to begin with, that your silence was a trick, not a choice. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. If you understand this, you'll see that your worth was never in her hands. It was always in yours. Why no contact alone isn't enough. No contact plants the seed, but it doesn't water it. Her thoughts about you need fuel, mystery, curiosity, intrigue. If she reaches out and you respond too eagerly, you break the spell. If she doesn't reach out and you panic, you were never truly detached to begin with. Stoicism teaches us that detachment from outcome is key. Epictetus said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most men don't fail because she didn't come back. They fail because they expected her to, and when she didn't, they crumbled. So what's the right mindset? Simple. You do not wait. You do not chase. You do not expect. You continue your path, and if she finds herself drawn back to you, it will be on your terms, at your pace. The true purpose of no contact. This is not about winning her back. It is about reclaiming yourself. If you use no contact simply as a strategy to manipulate her, then you have already lost, because your sense of worth is still tied to her reaction. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Most men are not heartbroken over the woman. They are heartbroken over their loss of control, their shattered ego, their bruised pride. But a Stoic man understands. Control was an illusion from the beginning. The only thing you ever truly control is yourself. When you truly embrace this, something powerful happens. You stop trying to be what she wants and start becoming what you want. You realize that your silence wasn't about her, it was about rediscovering your own value. The next move is everything now. As the days pass, she will start to wonder. She will feel the void, but she must feel it fully. If you rush back too soon, she never experiences the full weight of your absence. You were her comfort, her fallback, her option. And if she senses that you are still waiting in the shadows, she will never chase you. What should you do next? Nothing. What should you focus on? Yourself. What should you remind yourself? That she is not the prize, you are. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, once said, "Man conquers the world by conquering himself." If you want to reclaim your power, you must first reclaim your mind. If you do this right, she won't just chase you, she will realize that losing you was never part of her plan. But by then, the real question won't be whether she comes back. It will be whether you still want her at all. 2. Observe her first moves, a Stoic approach to reading the signs without losing control. The silence has settled in, you've held your ground, you've resisted the urge to reach out, and now the balance of power has subtly shifted. But here's where many men make their biggest mistake. They misread the moment. They overanalyze, overreact, or worse, they crack under pressure. What happens right after no contact is critical. This is the moment when her actions or inactions start revealing her intentions. But if you don't approach it with the right mindset, you'll fall into the same emotional traps that got you here in the first place. The Stoics teach us that perception is everything. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If you let your emotions dictate your next move, you'll misinterpret her actions through a lens of desperation instead of clarity. But if you remain detached, patient, and composed, you'll see things for what they really are. And in this phase, knowledge is power. Read, but don't react. The biggest temptation after no contact is to jump at the first sign of attention. She likes your Instagram post. She sends a casual "hey." Maybe she starts posting things that seem directed at you. Your heart races, your mind spins, and suddenly you feel like all the effort of no contact has paid off. But stop. Breathe. Observe. A single message means nothing. A like on social media isn't a grand confession of regret. These are breadcrumbs, small gestures to test the waters, to see if you're still emotionally hooked. If you react too quickly, you confirm to her that you were just waiting in the shadows. You erase all the mystery and tension that your absence created. Epictetus reminds us, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. She may not even be consciously trying to manipulate you, but if you jump at the first sign of engagement, you show that you're still emotionally controlled by her actions. A high-value man doesn't chase breadcrumbs. He waits to see the full picture. Look for patterns, not single actions. One text doesn't mean she's chasing you. One like doesn't mean she's regretting everything. Pay attention to patterns. Does she repeatedly initiate contact? Or was it a one-time thing? Is she engaging more in your world, watching your stories, commenting, liking your posts? Or is she just fishing for attention and then disappearing again? A Stoic man understands that true value is revealed over time, not in fleeting moments. If she is genuinely interested, her effort will be consistent. She will invest in re-establishing the connection, not just toss out occasional signals to keep you emotionally tied to her. Even her silence is a signal. What if she doesn't reach out? What if you hear nothing? Most men panic at this stage. They assume silence means she's over them, that she's moved on completely. But the truth is, silence is just another form of communication. Many women, whether consciously or not, mirror a man's behavior. If you remain silent, she may stay silent too, not because she doesn't care, but because she's waiting for you to crack first. She wants to see if you will abandon your strength and return to her on her terms. This is where many men fail. They mistake silence for rejection, and in their fear, they reach out. They send that one message, hoping to just check in. And in doing so, they destroy the very tension that was making her think about them in the first place. Seneca said, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectation, which depends on the future and wastes the present." If you sit there anxiously waiting for a text, wondering what she's thinking, you are not in control. She is. The solution? Detach. Assume nothing. Accept that whether she reaches out or not, you remain the same. Patience is your superpower. Most men rush. They react out of impulse, fear, or excitement. But attraction is built in the space between actions, in the anticipation, in the uncertainty. If you break that tension too soon, you kill the spark before it has a chance to ignite. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Strength isn't about controlling her, it's about controlling yourself. It's about staying grounded even when your emotions scream at you to do something. So when she finally reaches out, what do? You don't jump. You don't pour out your emotions. You stay steady, composed, and indifferent to the outcome. A simple neutral response like, "Hey, it's been a while, how's everything?" is all that's needed. This shows confidence. This shows that you are not emotionally swayed by her return. The true power move: stay unmoved. Imagine this: she sends a message, you see it, but you don't react instantly. You don't let your emotions dictate your response. You take your time, you process, and you decide, logically, how and when to reply. That is power. That is control. Most men respond immediately, giving away their eagerness, their lingering attachment. But a man who understands his value never rushes. He lets the moment breathe. He operates on his time, not hers. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, said, "Man conquers the world by conquering himself." If you want to win this game, you must first win over your own impulses. If you do this right, you will see the truth of the situation clearly. You will act, not react. And in the end, you will no longer be the one chasing. Because by the time she realizes what she's lost, the real question will be, will you even still care? 3. Reignite attraction, the Stoic way to make her want you again. The silence has done its job. The space you created made her think. The doubt crept in. Maybe she started testing the waters, sending a message, liking a post, or subtly making her presence known. But now comes the real challenge. How do you reignite the spark without undoing all the progress you've made? This is where most men fall apart. They get too excited, they rush in, and suddenly, all the attraction they rebuilt through mystery and distance collapses under the weight of neediness. They think they need grand gestures, deep conversations, or an emotional confession to win her back. But that's the mistake. Stoicism teaches us that true power lies in restraint, in subtlety, in effortless confidence. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This is not the time for words. It's the time for presence, for quiet strength, for showing rather than telling. Less is more. Attraction thrives in mystery. Most men make the mistake of over-explaining, oversharing, or trying to immediately restore the dynamic they had before. But attraction isn't about convincing. It's about pulling someone in without force. If she reaches out with a simple, "Hey, it's been a while," your first instinct might be to pour out everything you've been feeling, to tell her how much you've missed her. Don't. Instead, respond in a way that is neutral, confident, and slightly intriguing. Something like, "Yeah, it has. Hope you've been doing well." Simple, direct, no unnecessary emotions, no validation seeking. You acknowledge her, but you don't immediately give her the reaction she expects. And that uncertainty creates attraction. Seneca once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." The same applies to rekindling attraction. The greatest remedy for desperation is restraint. You must let tension build naturally. Be the man she remembers, but better. She needs to see that you are not the same person who walked away. That you've grown, evolved, and leveled up in ways she didn't expect. This is what reignites attraction. Not empty words, but undeniable presence. Instead of diving into deep emotional talks, subtly show your transformation. If you've been hitting the gym, let her notice. If you've picked up a new hobby, let that naturally weave into conversation. If your mindset has sharpened, let it reflect in your composure. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." You don't need to tell her you've changed. She should feel it. The way you carry yourself, the way you respond, the way you maintain control, that is what will make her want to chase again. Keep the emotional balance, never overinvest. At this stage, emotions are high. The temptation to slip back into old patterns is strong, but this is where you must hold the line. She might test you, bring up the past, hint at old issues, or even act distant to see if you will break first. Don't fall for it. A Stoic man remains centered no matter what. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." She may act unpredictable, but your job is to stay steady, to show, through your calmness, that you are a man in control of himself. If she asks about what you've been up to, don't overshare everything at once. Keep a sense of mystery. Say something like, "A lot of good things, actually. I'll tell you about it sometime." This does two things. It keeps her intrigued, and it makes her invest more effort to learn about you. The more effort she puts in, the more emotionally engaged she becomes. The attraction loop. How to keep her wanting more. Attraction is never static. It's not something you win once and then keep forever. It must be continually nurtured, not by effort, but by maintaining the right balance of presence and distance. A man who is too available loses value. A man who is too distant creates frustration. The key is to be present enough to engage her, but elusive enough to remain a challenge. Seneca reminds us, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Let there be just enough friction, just enough uncertainty, just enough challenge to keep the spark alive. Reignite, but never chase. There's a fundamental difference between reigniting attraction and chasing. One is about creating a gravitational pull, making her come toward you. The other is about pursuing, which only makes her retreat. The Stoic way is always about self-control. You do not run after what is uncertain. You become so centered, so unshakable, that what is meant for you naturally gravitates back. If she feels your growth, your energy, your strength, she will feel compelled to be part of it. But only if she senses that you are a man who doesn't need her validation. Marcus Aurelius said, "Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them." Your focus should never be on chasing her. It should be on becoming a man of such value that she chooses to chase you. And when she does, the real question won't be whether she wants you back. It will be whether you still want her. 4. Build curiosity. The Stoic way to making her think about you. Non-stop silence has done its work. She has felt your absence. She has reached out. Now, what comes next will determine everything. Because here's the thing. Just because she's back in contact doesn't mean she's fully invested. She may be testing the waters. She may be curious. She may be interested, but not yet hooked. And this is where most men fail. They think that now that she's showing interest, they have to give everything away. Tell her they've missed her, show her how much they've changed, flood her with attention to make sure she stays. But attraction doesn't work like that, because curiosity is one of the strongest human emotions. What we don't fully understand, we obsess over. What remains slightly out of reach, we chase. What is mysterious, we crave to solve. And if you want to make her think about you, if you want to live in her mind long after every conversation ends, you must master the art of curiosity, the Stoic way. The less you reveal, the more she wants to know. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not the external things that disturb us, but our judgments about them." And when it comes to attraction, this truth is golden. Because the moment she knows everything about what you're thinking, about how you feel, about what you want, she stops wondering. And when she stops wondering, the chase ends. Most men spill everything the moment they get a little attention. They text back instantly, over-explain their lives, and make sure she knows she still has them. But the high-value man? He doesn't overshare. He doesn't rush to fill the silence. He doesn't feel the need to explain himself. Instead, he lets her wonder. When she asks what you've been up to, you don't give her a full rundown. You say, "A lot of exciting things. I'll tell you about it sometime." When she asks about your weekend, you don't say, "Nothing much, just at home." You say, "It was interesting to say the least." And you leave it at that. See what happens? Instead of closing the conversation, you open a loop in her mind. A gap, a question. And human nature hates unanswered questions. This is how curiosity is built. Not by telling her everything, but by giving her just enough to make her want more. The mystery of presence and absence. Curiosity isn't just about words. It's about presence and absence. Because here's another mistake most men make. Once they start talking to her again, they become too available. They go from being a mystery to being predictable. And predictability kills attraction. Seneca once wrote, A gift freely given is seldom valued. In other words, if she never has to wonder where you are, what you're thinking, or what you're doing, she will never crave you. So instead of texting her all day, disappear sometimes. Instead of always being the first to reply, wait, let the silence grow. Let her feel it. Instead of always making plans, be busy, have a life, make her fit into it rather than the other way around. Let her feel your presence, but also your absence. Let her notice when you're not there. Let her wonder why you're not always available. Let her feel the contrast between when she has your attention and when she doesn't. Because that contrast, that's what makes her miss you. That's what makes her chase. The subtle power of social proof. Curiosity also comes from something else, what others see in you. If she sees that other people find you interesting, exciting, valuable, she will naturally want to know more. Epictetus said, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. This means that instead of telling her you're valuable, you show it by living a life that speaks for itself. If she sees you out with friends, smiling, living well, she wonders what's making you so happy. If she sees you progressing in your career, in your goals, she wonders why you never had that energy when you were with her. If she sees other women interested in you, she wonders why she ever let you go. Curiosity isn't about playing mind games. It's about showing through action that you are a man worth knowing, a man who is constantly evolving, constantly becoming. And that kind of man, he's irresistible. Give her a taste, then pull back. One of the most powerful ways to intensify curiosity is through a simple but deadly effective strategy. Give her a taste, then take it away. Imagine you're in a deep, engaging conversation with her. You're making her laugh, teasing her, building tension. She's fully invested, engaged, leaning in. And then, you cut it short. All right, I've got to go. Talk later. This was fun. I'll catch you another time. I'd tell you more, but where's the fun in that? And just like that, you leave her wanting more. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say. This isn't just about death. It's about the urgency of the moment. The ability to walk away at the peak of interest, rather than dragging things out until they fade. Because what ends too soon stays in the mind. And that's how you make her think about you long after the conversation ends. Curiosity leads to chase. If you stay in control, here's the final and most important truth about curiosity. It only works if you don't break first. If you reveal too much, if you become too predictable, if you let her know she has you completely, the curiosity dies. But if you stay in control, if you remain just out of reach, always a little bit ahead, always leaving a little more to be discovered, she won't just think about you, she'll chase you. The choice is yours. Which man will you be? Right now you have two paths. One, you give everything away. You make yourself too available, too predictable, too easy to figure out, and she loses interest. Or two, you control what you reveal and when. You leave gaps for her to fill. You let her wonder about you. One path leads to being forgotten. The other, to being unforgettable. Which will you choose? Tell me in the comments, what's the hardest part about staying mysterious? And if you want to master not just attraction, but the power of self-control, subscribe now. Because a man who keeps others curious, he never gets left behind. 5. Keep the emotional balance. The Stoic way to staying in control. The moment you've been waiting for is here. After weeks of silence, after holding your ground, after making her feel your absence, she's back. The conversation is flowing, the energy is shifting, and for the first time in a long time, you feel the pull of connection returning. And this is where most men lose themselves. They get too excited, they drop their guard, they rush in thinking, this is it, we're back. But emotions are dangerous, because the moment you let them take over, the moment you hand over your self-control, you also hand over your power. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the test. Not of whether you can win her back, but of whether you can keep your balance while the ground shifts beneath you. Because the truth is simple. The man who controls his emotions controls the relationship. Do not let her actions dictate your state of mind. Most men, the moment they see signs of warmth, lean in too much. They become too available, too eager, too quick to respond. They let her set the pace and they follow, like a lost man clinging to hope. But the Stoic man? he remains steady. Seneca said, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." This means that no matter what she does, whether she comes closer or pulls away, you do not break your frame. If she texts more today but disappears tomorrow, you remain the same. If she flirts one day but seems distant the next, you remain the same. If she tells you she misses you but isn't making an effort, you remain the same. Because the moment you let her energy dictate your state of mind, you are no longer in control of yourself. And a man who isn't in control of himself will always be chasing. The high-value man is always centered. Picture two ships in a storm. One ship is small, light, easily tossed by the waves. Every gust of wind shifts its course. Every wave sends it crashing. It has no power over itself. It simply reacts to the chaos around it. The other ship? It's massive, steady, unshaken. It does not fight the waves, nor does it fear them. It moves with deliberation, always on course, because its anchor runs deep. Which ship are you? Most men are the first ship. Their emotions, their sense of self-worth, their ability to stay calm, all depend on how she treats them. If she gives attention, they feel amazing. If she pulls away, they panic. But the Stoic man? He is the second ship. Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That's the key. If she flirts with you, you don't immediately flirt back like a desperate man. You enjoy the moment, but you stay in control. If she goes silent, you don't spiral into overthinking. You accept what is and remain steady. If she pushes for more connection, you let her prove that she is consistent, not just emotional in the moment. You don't ride her emotional waves. You stand firm in your own emotional center. Never make her the center of your emotional world. Here's the hard truth. The moment a woman realizes she is the center of your world, she will start to lose attraction. Not because she's cruel, not because she doesn't care, but because women are drawn to men who have their own purpose, their own drive, their own foundation. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That means that your life should not revolve around her. If she messages, great, but your day was already full, already purposeful, with or without her. If she wants to see you, great, but you're not waiting, you're living. If she is interested, fantastic, but she is not the center, you are. The moment she senses that you are self-contained, that you are a man who does not need her, but instead chooses her, she will feel safe in your presence, because your energy is not reactive. It is solid. Set boundaries and maintain them. Most men, when they reconnect with a woman they once lost, become too forgiving. They let things slide. They ignore red flags. They accept less effort than they should, because they're afraid that if they set a boundary, she will leave. But boundaries are not about pushing her away. They are about self-respect. Epictetus said, "How long will you wait before you demand the best for yourself?" So ask yourself, is she putting in effort or just enjoying your attention? Is she consistent or is she hot and cold? Is she treating you as an option or as a priority? If she is not showing you the respect and effort you deserve, you must be willing to walk away. Because a high-value man, he does not fear loss. He only fears losing himself. The test of emotional strength. Right now you are being tested, not just by her, but by life itself. Because what happens in relationships happens everywhere. In business, in friendships, in every pursuit that requires discipline. And the question is simple. Can you remain in control, even when emotions are pulling at you? Can you keep your power when she pulls back? Can you stay calm when uncertainty creeps in? Can you hold your frame, even when part of you wants to chase? The answer to those questions will determine not just this relationship, but the kind of man you become. Choose control. Choose strength. Choose yourself. Right now, you have a choice. 1, you let her actions determine your emotions. You become reactive, uncertain, desperate to keep her attention, and in doing so, you lose yourself. Or 2, you hold your ground. You remain unshaken. You let her feel your presence, but never depend on her presence. One path leads to emotional weakness. The other? Emotional strength. Which will you choose? Tell me in the comments, what's the hardest part about staying in control when emotions get involved? And if you're ready to master not just attraction, but self-mastery, because a man who controls himself, he controls everything. 7, be the man she can't replace, the Stoic way to becoming irreplaceable. Attraction fades, desire shifts, people come and go. And yet, there are some men that women never forget. Some men who leave a mark so deep, so undeniable, that no one who comes after them can fill the space they once occupied. The question is, will you be one of them? Most men, when trying to win back a woman, focus on one thing: getting her attention. But attention is temporary. It's fleeting. It can be given and taken away in an instant. The real goal is something far greater. Not to be someone she notices, but to be someone she cannot replace. Because once you become that man, she won't just want you back. She will fear losing you again. And if you ever choose to walk away, she will feel the weight of that decision for the rest of her life. This is not about playing games. This is not about manipulation. This is about transformation. The Stoic way. The power of being a man in motion. Why do women forget some men overnight, while others stay in their minds for years? Simple. Because most men remain static. They stay the same. They cling to the past. They try to win her back with nostalgia, reminding her of the good times instead of making her see them again in the present. But a high-value man? He is never the same person twice. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And this is where most men fail. They think being irreplaceable is about making her remember who they were. But no, it's about making her realize what she lost, because the man she left, he no longer exists. You must become a man in motion, always evolving, always leveling up, always becoming more. Physically stronger, mentally sharper, more confident, more disciplined, more driven. Not for her, for you. Because when you grow, when you elevate yourself beyond who she used to know, you don't just regain her attention, you make her question everything. And nothing is more powerful than that. What makes a man irreplaceable? Think about the men in your own life. The ones who inspire you, the ones you respect, the ones you'd never want to disappoint. What do they have in common? They have presence. They have purpose. They move through the world with a sense of certainty, because their identity is not built on external validation. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." And a man who is free from neediness, free from desperation, free from the fear of losing a woman, is a man who cannot be ignored. So ask yourself, are you just another guy she once dated? Or are you a force of nature she was lucky to know? Are you hoping she chooses you? Or are you becoming someone who must be chosen? If she walked away, is she coming back to the same man? Or to someone she never expected you to become? Because when you become one of one, the kind of man that cannot be replicated, you don't have to fight for attention. You command it. Scarcity creates value. Be the rarest man she knows. A diamond is valuable not because it is beautiful, but because it is rare. A man is valuable not because he is charming, but because his mindset, his discipline, his energy are things few can match. Epictetus once said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." The mistake most men make? They try to become what she wants, instead of becoming what they were meant to be. But the man she can't replace? He is rare, because he is his own man. He doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, he doesn't move through life seeking approval. And that kind of man, he is magnetic. When she sees you again, she should feel the difference. One day, she will look at you again. Maybe through a message, maybe through a photo, maybe in person. And in that moment, she should feel something unexpected. Not just recognition, but uncertainty. How did he change this much? Why does he seem even more confident than before? Did I make a mistake? That is the moment you win. Not by convincing her, not by persuading her, but by being undeniable. And the only way to reach that moment? By choosing yourself first. Be ready to walk away, because that's what makes you powerful. Here's the ultimate truth. A woman will only truly chase a man when she knows without a doubt that he is willing to walk away. Most men don't have this power. They hold on too tightly, they give too much, they make her their everything, and in doing so, they become replaceable. But the man who is ready to lose her, he is the one she cannot afford to lose. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now, let that determine what you do and say." Read that again. You could lose her forever. So will you spend your time proving your worth to her? Or will you spend your time becoming a man whose worth is self-evident? The choice is yours. Who will you be? Right now, you stand at a crossroads. One path, you stay the same. You chase, you seek validation, you become another name in her past. The other, you transform, you level up, you become the kind of man she never thought she could lose. One path leads to forgettable, the other, legendary. Which will you choose? Tell me in the comments, what's the hardest part about becoming irreplaceable? And if you're ready to master not just attraction, but the art of self-mastery. Because a man who truly values himself, the world has no choice but to value him too. 8. Stay in control of your emotions, the Stoic way to maintaining power. The moment she comes back, something inside you stirs. Maybe it's relief, maybe it's excitement, maybe it's the intoxicating rush of knowing that the silence has finally been broken. And yet, this is where most men fall. Not because they aren't smart, not because they don't want to do things right, but because they lose control of themselves at the very moment they need it most. They let emotions take the wheel. And when emotions take control, logic disappears. Composure fades, power is lost. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the real battle, not the one with her, but the one within yourself. Because if you cannot control your emotions, your desires, your impulses, then she is not the one in charge. Your feelings are. The danger of overinvestment. The mistake most men make when a woman returns? They assume that her interest means they've already won. She texts first, she laughs at your jokes, she flirts a little, and suddenly, you're all in again. You drop your guard. You text her back instantly. You let yourself believe that everything is going back to how it was. But here's the truth. Just because she reaches out doesn't mean she's ready to stay. She might be curious. She might be bored. She might just want to see if you're still an option. Seneca once wrote, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." Most men suffer before it is necessary because they get attached too soon. They start fantasizing about how things will play out before anything real has even happened. And in doing so, they set themselves up for disappointment. A Stoic man? He does not assume. He does not overcommit. He does not emotionally invest before a woman has earned that investment. He stays centered, observing, not reacting. Patience separates the powerful from the weak. Imagine you're playing chess. You've made a strong opening move. Your opponent is starting to react. What do? Do you rush forward blindly, attacking without thinking? Or do you sit back, assess, and wait for the right moment to strike? Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This is not just about her. This is about you, learning to control yourself, your mind, your emotions, your reactions. Because if you cannot control yourself, you are no different from a man who acts on impulse, who chases at the first sign of interest, who reacts emotionally instead of strategically. The man who moves without patience will always lose. But the man who waits, who lets the situation unfold before taking action, he is the one who holds the power. Detach from the outcome. True strength lies in indifference. What if she pulls away again? What if her interest isn't consistent? What if she's just using this moment to test you? Most men panic. They analyze every word, every emoji, every delay in her responses, searching for meaning, fearing rejection. But a man in control? He does not obsess over outcomes. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That means you cannot control how she feels, what she does, whether she truly wants to come back or just wants attention. What can you control? How you respond, whether you stay grounded instead of needy, whether you place your own value above the situation. When you detach from the outcome, you become free. And freedom makes you powerful. Control the frame. Never let her dictate your actions. What does a woman truly find attractive? Not a man who chases her. Not a man who needs her. But a man who is firm in his own reality. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If she flirts but isn't consistent, you don't chase, you don't get upset, you carry on with your life. If she says she misses you but makes no effort to see you, you don't beg. You don't ask why. You simply note the inconsistency and act accordingly. This is the power of holding the frame. A man who follows a woman's emotional ups and downs will always be at her mercy. A man who maintains control, who lets her actions dictate his decisions, not his emotions, will always be in command. You are not here to be chosen. you are here to choose. Here is the ultimate truth. The moment a woman feels like she has already won you back, she will stop valuing you. Because a man who is too easy to have is a man who is easy to replace. Seneca once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Your trial? To hold your emotional center even in the moments when you want to give in, to wait instead of rushing, to observe instead of assuming, to maintain control instead of reacting emotionally. Because when a man is willing to walk away, when he does not seek approval, does not place all his happiness in a woman's hands, that is the man she cannot forget. The ultimate test: can you master yourself? Right now, you are being tested, not by her, by your own discipline. Can you stay in control when she reaches out? Can you resist the urge to chase? Can you maintain your self-respect even when your emotions tempt you to fold? This is where weak men break. But strong men, they thrive here, because this is the moment that separates the desperate from the powerful, the forgettable from the legendary, the replaceable from the one she will never stop thinking about. The choice is yours: control or chaos. Right now, you have two choices. One, you let emotions rule you. You get excited, overinvest, and lose control. And in doing so, you hand her the power. Or two, you stay calm, you stay in control. You hold the frame, maintaining your strength and value, and make her feel the weight of earning you back. One path leads to weakness, the other, mastery. Which will you choose? Tell me in the comments, what's the hardest part about controlling your emotions in situations like this? And if you want to master not just attraction, but the art of self-mastery, because the man who controls himself, he controls everything. My friend, this journey was never about winning her back. It was about winning yourself back. Every moment of silence, every time you resisted the urge to chase, every second you held your ground, these were not tests of her interest. They were tests of your discipline. Because a weak man seeks approval, a weak man reacts, a weak man loses himself in the presence of a woman. But a strong man, he stands firm. He does not chase, he attracts. He does not seek validation, he chooses who is worthy of his time. And in the end, that is the ultimate power. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If your thoughts are rooted in neediness, you will always be chasing. If your thoughts are rooted in strength, you will always be in control. The choice has always been yours. She is not the prize. You are. So ask yourself, have you become the man she can't replace? Or better yet, have you become the man who no longer cares if she does? Tell me in the comments, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from this journey? And if you're ready to master not just attraction, but the art of self-mastery. Because the man who walks with purpose, he never walks alone.